everyone here today, and this is the show of strength that we need to send a very strong message to Prime Minister Gillard and to the Leader of the Coalition, Tony Abbott, and that is, walk with the people, not with the polluters. Let's hear it. Walk with the people, not the polluters. Walk with the people, not the polluters. That is the message that we need to send to Canberra today. Now, I want to acknowledge that we are standing on Aboriginal land. And as we all know, the poorest and the most marginalised around the world are those who are already affected by climate change. And as we stand here today, 20 million people, it's a number that's almost too hard to imagine, 20 million people in Pakistan impacted by the flooding. In Russia, hundreds are dying every day because of the heat waves, because of the drought. The grain crops have collapsed, 20% of their food crops collapsed, and that will have a rolling impact now around the world in terms of grain supplies. For anyone who still thought that nuclear was some kind of answer to climate change, they should look at those fires now threatening those areas in Russia that were contaminated by Chernobyl. There is a big race on to dig moats around existing reactors, and there is already nuclear contamination going up because of the fires there. At the same time, in the last week, a big chunk of ice, 260 square kilometres, 260 square kilometres is broken off Greenland. So as we stand here, we have fires and drought in Russia, terrible extreme flooding in Pakistan, which experienced a temperature of 53 degrees recently, the most extreme ever in that part of Asia. And here in our own Tasmania, just go to the east coast and ask the fishermen what's happening over there, and you will find that the sea urchins have come down, the invasive sea urchins from New South Wales have come down on the warm current, and they are eating out the kelp beds as we speak. So we are in solidarity with people all over the world who are impacted already by quite severe outcomes of climate change, and yet as we know that climate change is accelerating, at the same time as we know that the impacts are becoming more profound and more frequent, we have Julia Gillard and Tony Abbott decelerating in their response to climate change, and it's simply not good enough. And at this election, we really have next Saturday got an opportunity to send a very strong message to Canberra that you might have forgotten climate change, but the people of Australia haven't forgotten climate change. The community wants action, and it wants real action on climate change now, not fiddling around the edges. Now what we need is action that is quick. We must respond to the urgency with really deep cuts to emissions. And no amount of standing out there in a paddock and saying we're going to plant more trees, or no amount of taking $220 million out of the solar flagship program to give it to cash for clunkers is going to actually hide the fact that what you have to do is put a price on carbon. And that price on carbon cannot wait for a 150 people focus group. It cannot wait for Tony Abbott to accept that climate change is real. The price on carbon must be delivered in this term of government, and that is where the Greens in balance of power are going to drive this hard. We cannot wait for a carbon price. We need it now. Straight after this election, the people of Australia demand that the polluters pay, that the price goes on carbon, that the polluters pay, and that the community isn't required to put its hands in its pockets to keep on subsidising the polluters. The message to our leaders is the polluter pays. It's a well-accepted principle. Get on with it and do it. Here is 12 new coal-fired power stations on the books, new coal mines threatening farming lands across the Darling Downs into the Liverpool Plains and so on. All of that on the books right now, and only the people voting next Saturday can make a difference to that. The bigger the Green vote on Saturday, the stronger the message to both Tony Abbott and Julia Gillard that the people of Australia want that price on carbon now, but they also want our forests protected. Everybody knows that our ancient forests are the best carbon stores. If you are serious about doing something on climate change, you make the polluters pay with a carbon price and you protect those forests now. Australia. It'll make us healthier and happier. It'll redesign our cities. It is a policy to move to 100% renewable energy as quickly as we can get there. A policy to bring energy efficiency from everything from our homes to our commercial office buildings to the largest of our industrial facilities. It's a plan to bring transformation to our transport sector, major investment in light rail, in fast rail, in public transport from one end of the country to the other. That is the kind of transformation people want. In rural Australia, it's about getting off petrochemical fertilisers and getting back to more biological farming so that you have better soil moisture retention, more biological activity and carbon storage in your soils. All of those things, better food, better cities, cleaner air, healthier people. That is what a transformation on climate change brings to Australia, and that is what the people are asking for. New green jobs, transformation, a revolution in solutions. That's what the Greens are offering, and that's what the people of Australia are wanting. Of what it formerly was. Ecological debt is real, and there are some things that you cannot adapt to. And that is the reality. You must protect it now. So we want strong mitigation, not just a focus on adaptation. We have to avoid getting beyond that 2 degrees. We need to be aiming for 350 degrees. That's what the scientists are telling us. The scientists are out there very strongly saying that there is a failure of leadership in Australia. What is needed is transformative leadership, the move to the new low-carbon economy, the aim to get to 40% reductions in greenhouse gases by 2020 and net carbon zero by 2050. That's the kind of excitement that the community wants. It wants to have a vision, something to aim for, a new and different country in a world that values everybody equally, recognises our responsibility as a developed country and goes out there on a mission for justice. Justice for everyone in the world responding to climate change, not just what about the coal mines now? This is a situation where we, the people, must go out there and say to our leaders, your time is up. Either get a vision for the future, walk with the people, or walk out. We are not going to tolerate a situation where you just walk with the polluters. So today, as we walk in this walk against warming, we're making a big statement. Walk with the people of Australia. Walk with the Greens. If you think about climate change, vote Green, vote transformation, vote balance of power in the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Milne. Fantastic. And now is your chance to walk with the people. So the walk is going to commence now. What I'd like you all to do